Welcome to the final segment of the Shape Discovery series. Well done for staying the course. In this video, you will discover how your experiences enable you to be more effective in fulfilling God's purpose. E in the SHAPE acronym stands for experiences that God gives or uses to shape us and prepare us for the service He wants us to offer. As God slowly crafts the masterpiece of our lives, He uses all of our experiences, the painful as well as the more enjoyable, to flesh out the finished product. Think back over all the key experiences of your life that have shaped who you are today. Childhood joys and sorrows, the pain and thrill of adolescence, the struggle and accomplishments of adulthood, depending on your stage of life. Imagine yourself walking down a long hallway in an art gallery. On the walls are paintings that reflect those life-shaping moments in your life. Yes, in your life. On one side are paintings of experiences that brought you excitement, joy, achievement, and fulfillment. On the other side are pictures of experiences that caused pain, frustration, and remorse. Walking slowly down that hallway, looking carefully at each painting, is an important step toward understanding who God has created you to be and discovering the kingdom purpose He has set aside just for you. The Apostle Paul says, "And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose." Romans 8 and verse 28. Yes, you have been shaped by your experiences in life, most of which were beyond your control. God molds you using your experience for His purpose. As you examine each life event painting that God brings to mind, take time to think about how it has ultimately impacted you. What lessons did you gain? If you can't think of any lessons, ask God to reveal them to you. He longs to use everything in your life. To get the most out of this shape discovery, seek a breakthrough with God. Be fully transparent. Celebrate your victories and claim your pain for God's gain. Go deep beneath the surface and think of the earnest moments and significant experiences that truly define and shape your life story. God can take the mess in your life and bring a message out of it. He can take the test in your life and create a testimony out of it. He can take a crisis and show Christ through it. God doesn't waste any experience you have. Enjoy this discovery and embrace your life experiences. Welcome to our SHAPE discussion groups, and this is my privilege to have three other friends to discuss some of the very important questions on the table. Let me introduce you to Sarah Jane Riley. Welcome, Sarah Jane. Thank you for being with us. Also, Karen Newson, come on the stage. Thank you, Karen. And William Wolfgram. Thank you, Will. Great to see all of you, and thank you for discussing these questions with me. The first episode is about purpose, and the very first question that sounds very simple is it really significant for people to have meaning in life?
Yes. The short answer, I think all of us agree, is definitely yes. But I also think, to take it a step further, we are complex, beautifully complex, intelligent human beings, and it's just not enough for us to simply exist.
Yes. Yeah. Then let's go one step deeper. Why is it significant for people to have meaning in life? What difference is this making?
I think it's so significant because it directly connects to our sense of purpose, which connects to whether we feel fulfilled or not. And then that leads to good stuff like joy and peace and passion for whatever it is that, brings that meaning.
Yeah, and like I'm reminded of, who was it? Was it Solomon in the Bible? Or who wrote Ecclesiastes, who said, who came to a point in his life where he was like, man, I've done so much stuff. I've built all these things. I've done all this stuff. And he's like, actually, it was like all meaningless. And so, we kind of want to ask ourselves the question, well, like you guys have said, it's great. Having meaning is good, but where do we get our meaning from? Where do we gain our purpose from? It's a really important question, but
Yeah, I think when we have purpose and meaning and we know why we were created, we have this reason. It can be like a compass point that no matter what the highs and lows are, no matter how many times we go off track, it's just something that pulls us back on track and just reminds us that there's something bigger than the current circumstances that I'm facing. And I have a purpose. I have something I'm working towards.
Yes, yeah. And thanks, SJ, for bringing this up, because we are also, I suppose, approaching our life from faith context, and even this whole shape understanding also is in the context of faith. So let's go to our next question. And why is it even more important for Bible-believing Christians to discover their meaning in life?
Well, I think... I'm going to follow from you.
I think that, William sort of spoke about this, that clearly in life, because people want meaning and they want to feel purpose, they look for that in so many areas of life. And for a time, they think that whatever it is, whatever that thing is, or whoever that person is, will bring that meaning or will bring that fulfillment. But after a while, we realize that it actually doesn't, that's just that cheap imitation. And so I think for us as Bible-believing Christians, it's so important because we get to model that, People see in us a different kind of peace, a different kind of joy, especially in circumstances. And so that, I think, is so important to reflect that so that they understand that, it is different.
Yeah, for me, I think, the Bible definitely serves as you have so many examples, like I said, of Solomon, but there are other examples in the New Testament. There's the woman at the well and that whole story of, being thirsty. There's so many things in life that, we think will, quench that thirst. I think it's a phrase that a lot of preachers say, there's a God-shaped hole in every single one of us. And I really believe that there's a space in our lives that only God can really fill. And when we want total, complete fulfillment and complete meaning, I think person who can give us that, and Jesus says, I'm the water of life, the eternal water.
And I think when we discover like our specific purpose, like as Christians, I think we can still be wandering around going, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? Or we can just think that we can just cruise along with God, but God's way more intentional than that. Like He has created each and every one of us a very specific way for a specific purpose. And when we discover, like by taking God's hand, the possibilities that we have in Him and the purpose He has for us is just so important. Like ministry that I will do, me plus Jesus, is going to always be different when it's Karen plus Jesus or William plus Jesus or Victor plus Jesus. None of us with Jesus can accomplish exactly the same thing because we're all created differently.
And so let's move from a general sense of meaning to more specific purpose. And here's the question: does God have a purpose for each person? It's slightly different, not just a meaning, to be here, to be good. It's kind of general, but does God have a purpose, specific purpose for me?
It's funny because I think, because I totally agree with you, SJ. I think that there is a specific and unique purpose depending on who we are. We were created uniquely to fulfill his purpose. But I also think there's a broad purpose, for each one of us. And sometimes we make it a little bit too complex, but I actually think it's simple. And I think what he calls us all to do is to reveal his character of love. And to live that out in whatever setting he has put us in, to reveal him, because we are uniquely gifted to reveal him to certain people and in certain ways to certain communities. And so I think that's where the uniqueness comes in, but there's also just that broad purpose for each one of us.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Karen. And I think for me, one of the big things about of having, like the question before this was, where do we get our reference point? It's the Bible. But I think that's so important because, everyone's living according to a narrative. And for us as Christians, we believe in the narrative that is given to us from the Bible, that there is a beginning to the world, that there is a God who has designed everything. And it's the merging of our story with God's story. I think that is where we find clarity around purpose. Because as soon as we combine God's story with our story, we find, I guess, more meaning and more purpose, because our lives change. And I think, from the merging of those two, we discover a bit more about who we are, the giftings that we have, and then we can live out our purpose from that.
Yes, So how can we, and we already started talking about it, thank you. It's how can we discover God's purpose for our lives? Maybe you can share from your experience, and obviously this shape idea kind of helps people to discover it. But from your experience, how would you put it in your words?
I think it's a combination of things. All of us would like to think we pray that one prayer and say, Lord, show me your purpose for my life. And God goes, this is your purpose. But that's very rarely that God will show that. And often he just shows us a piece of the story, because honestly, if I looked at my life now, 10 years ago, I would have ran for the hit. This isn't, my life now would have freaked me out if God said, this is going to be your purpose. But I think it happens in multiple ways, and it happens through prayer, definitely. It happens through being in his word. It happens through relationships that we have with others, those key mentors we have in our life. And when people start identifying things in us, it's like this huge puzzle, and bits start coming together, and we grow and it evolves. Like, I don't think you get given a purpose and it's that same thing forever. Like God wants us to grow in him and stay close to him.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah. I usually, when I talk about the discovery journey, refer to the SHAPE acronym. And as we know, in this context of SHAPE, spiritual gifts, heart, H for heart, and abilities and personality and experiences, I believe they are all also clues that when God gives a spiritual gift, he gives it for a purpose. When he puts something on our heart, he does it for a purpose too, to kind of, direct us in that maybe direction. And so by discovering all of those 5 areas and having clarity how God is gifting you in all of those areas, sets you up on a more confident journey of discovery.
I think I just to add to that, discovery always, the prerequisite for discovery is discomfort. The prerequisite for discovery is discomfort. I think of the story of Abraham, and Sarah, you said that, but Abraham, when God called him, He said, I'll show you a land, but that's all I'm going to tell you. Just go leave your place. I'm going to give you all the details later on. And it's this level of discomfort that we have to be comfortable with in order for God to help us discover what that purpose is.
Yes. Lovely. I talk about trial and error. You need to trial. Okay, you get it, but it's not like, as Jay was saying, it's not one prayer and then you know it. It's a journey of trial and error, falling, picking up and going. Was it easy just in your experience? Not that you have already discovered it extensively.
And it's still not easy. I don't think it's something that gets easier. We just learn to lean into God more. We grow in our relationship with Him. I love that whole concept of like, just get used to being uncomfortable. There's so much growth. Like I always believe, like God can stretch us like a rubber band, but He'll never let us snap. And we just have to trust that. And we're not perfect. We are not perfect. And we're never going to get everything right the first time. So that whole trial and error thing is so true. Just be prepared, be prepared to give it a go and just trust God and trust those around you because all of us need each other. Yeah, so we all need someone.
Beautiful. So to really recap, being close to God, knowing how God is gifting you, and also having the funnel, having the community, having the support group around you who will also support you on the journey. That's a pathway of discovering of that purpose. Well, thank you so much for the really starting to scratch the surface, of those questions. And I'm sure our viewers will continue to do it in their own time as they reflect further. You will see all of the questions accessible to you. So make sure you also discuss it in your groups, whether you're viewing with other people or if you are viewing by yourself. You can also reflect them in your own time. All the best on your journey of discovery. And thank you so much, team, for your discussion as well. In determining your shape for serving God, you should examine at least 5 kinds of experiences from your past. Ministry experiences. How have you served God in the past? Second, your work experiences. What jobs have you been most effective in and enjoyed most? How about educational experiences? What were your favorite subject in school? And also spiritual experiences. What have been your most meaningful times with God? And of course, painful experiences. From what problems, hurts, thorns, and trials have you learned? It is the last category, painful experiences, that God uses the most to prepare us for ministry. God never wastes a hurt. In fact, our greatest ministry will most likely come out of our greatest hurt. As much as we sometimes wish to ignore or deny it, the whole way of our lives has its difficult side as well. If you truly want to discover your uniqueness and be used by God in the process, you must be willing to take a hard look at these paintings of your painful experiences. The possibilities of your life's achievements and experiences to become action steps for God are almost limitless. To help you begin to discover yours, review your 3 possible positive outcomes in each painting: the happy painting and the painful painting, and identify a few ways to build upon them to bless others and give glory to God. Next to each painting, list one way how you could use this event from your past to help someone now. As you wrap up your shape discovery journey, please remember this: God takes all of your life experiences, whether positive or painful, intentional or accidental, caused by you or by someone else, and uses them to shape you for His unique calling in your life. Romans 8:28 is maybe the most personal verse in the Bible. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Our life experiences are the most overlooked ways God uses to shape us for the way He wants us to serve Him and others in this world. The Bible says that God is working in every experience we have, in dealing with our mistakes, in our good and bad decisions, our successes and failures, our education, different jobs, relationships, unemployment or divorce, cancer or bankruptcy, you name it. God is working in everything in our life to accomplish His purpose for us. So, continue to reflect not only on your past journey, but also on the present experiences to see God's intentional work in you to shape you. If you are able to recognize God's hand in each experience you have had or are currently having, your life gains true meaning and you will be the happiest person alive. As we conclude this series, you learned about spiritual gifts, areas of passion, abilities, personality, and experiences. And I don't want you to just know about it. I want you to go out there in your church, your community, and allow God to show you how you can apply your unique shape. You can also share the shape concept with other people so you can build a community around you living out God's purpose.